on their own. City of White Plains, Town of Rye could do this on their own, and they could charge whatever fees they want to create their own pool of monies that could support the program. We're viewing it as a no-cost option for the town to join because we've built the infrastructure. The legal bills have been huge to get this synced up.
And a part of the funding, but in part of the loan servicing, there would be some costs on the part of the town of Rye.
Well, again, most towns are viewing the tax collection process as not an extra cost in a significant way.
It might not be that significant, but there would be an additional cost involved with the collection of the taxes and the reconciling of that, if you will. And then in terms of default, there could be the only remedy the town has would be to foreclose.
Correct.
Okay, so foreclosure in this state takes 3 years.
Yep.
All right, so we'd be making payments on a loan that we wouldn't be able to collect for a 3-year period. Mm-hmm. So that begs to, in my mind, begs the question that now, we need a reserve fund to allow for potential losses.
Yep.
That's going to be large enough so it doesn't sink the finances of the town.
That's correct.
And I think we need to look into that a little bit further.
These are all points that come up in every conversation we've had. It's exactly how you outline it. That just like, again, a school district, the water district, whatever you're guaranteeing, you've got to create a reserve based on your delinquency rate
Right.
that is sufficient so that your credit rating isn't affected at all. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons why our underwriting standards are so robust is that we definitely don't want to see our properties as part of that pool of delinquent properties. And the other option you have is to restrict the program to properties that maybe you feel would even have a lower risk of delinquency. And that's part of the municipal agreement.
And that begs another question in my mind is, the LTV going up to 80 to 90%. I mean, when we went up that high on the residential mortgage market, everybody knows what happens and what happened in 2008. I mean, the mortgage industry, you had a dot-com, similar to a dot-com bubble, had a bubble in real estate. It brought down a lot of Wall Street firms. I'm not in favor of going up that high in terms of LTV, and I know most commercial lenders will not lend above 70% LTV. So going up to an 80% or 90% LTV, I think is putting perhaps a little bit undue risk into the borrower of those funds, and increases the risk to the town of Rye.
It's definitely a matter of analysis. We've done our homework with.
That's why I was interested in seeing any projects that are currently working, because I'd like to, get a feel for how they're working, how they're being billed, and what kind of, presumably I would like to have a couple-year history of a project being run to get a sense of how that's being operated on an annual basis and what kind of issues they may have with that.
There are actually 7 programs nationally that are doing the very same thing. We're behind them, so to speak. Connecticut actually is one that's been operating for 2 years.
Can we get the names of some of these municipalities that have an operating program today where they're actually billing clients for these loans?
Sure. I mean, the City of Toledo is a very active program. They're over $60 million.
I'd like to get a list of names that we can probably call up.
Okay. Yep.
I like that question with regards to the comment about restricting the borrowers. So the town of Rye will have the opportunity to refuse someone from being a borrower?
Well, the town of Rye has the opportunity to restrict classes of borrowers, and it can be narrower or broader. We can't say that company A specifically, if they meet the underwriting standards of our program, we can't say that is rejected for a non-programmatic reason, because that would be violating the public benefit laws. But you could restrict it to a class of borrowers. And if that class includes, one option is to look at your delinquency rates and what class of your delinquency rates in the commercial sector are the most high, and then we just restrict that class.
Right.
I mean, it might be, I don't know, you could just do that analysis, and that'll possibly give you a little more comfort. But that is an option for you to do that. But our legal counsel has said you really can't pinpoint a specific borrower if they meet our criteria. because it would be
Could we change
violating.
that criteria?
That you can add to that criteria.
What if we want to make it, instead of up to 80, only up to 70 LTV?
That's your option. Yep.
So that specifically would, the municipal agreement, I think you're talking about the...
It would be, the way you would codify that is it's in Article 3 of the municipal agreement, and it's where you request a modification of the program as to your choosing, and that would be the modification. It would be that we request a 70% loan to value instead of 80%. That's perfectly within your bounds.
That's on page 4.
Yep.
I'm going to ask more of an environmental impact question. You had mentioned that a good majority of the projects are about efficiency, and I think that goes for most of us small homeowners as well, and change out your light bulbs. But we don't always talk about the different kind of environmental impact that like fluorescent light bulbs have if they're not disposed of correctly, and how it's not, most people don't know that we have a responsibility to dispose of these things correctly.
Right.
And, are we fixing one problem with an energy cost? We're having a different problem later down the line in 10 years when all these things need to be replaced and then they're not disposed of correctly. Is there any talk of that in the industry as far as exchanging,
It's a
one advantage?
very,
for
very
disadvantage?
good big picture, they call it life cycle costs of everything, right? So, you could take any
Yeah, it's more
this
of an industry
laptop.
question. I'm just deciding to pick your brain over it rather than this particular
Apple,
program.
designed this to be aluminum, so it's easily recyclable. But how what's the life cycle cost of mining this aluminum? Is it worse? If it's for these are big questions that are not addressed in this program.
Right, yeah.
But they're definitely being asked. Sure.
Okay.
In fact, if you're we're not financing specifically LEED buildings, but LEED always looks at how the materials that are coming out of a building that's being renovated and the ones that are going in, what are those life cycle costs? So the LEED standard addresses that to a certain extent. Energy Star does not as much, which is very specific to energy. But it's a great topic, but it's beyond the public policy component that the state law provides here.
Yeah.
The town. Town of Bedford, I have another hat, which is the energy director for the town of Bedford, and we've passed an ordinance that basically bolsters the New York State residential building code in testing for air quality.
Wow.
So, and that's actually part of the code, but
Okay.
no one enforces it.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard to. So we just make sure that that's enforced. We see a test come out of it. So it's part of that. It's part of the public policy of the town, of the city, of the state. How deep do you want to go?
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah. And you're right, it's a much bigger topic.
It's a big topic.
But,
So some clarity on the penalty fees, the interest and penalties. That accrues to the town, I would assume, just like delinquent taxes, the penalties for those would accrue to the town.
Correct.
So
Yep.
if there were any defaults, we would be accruing interest and penalties to the tune of about 12%.
That's right.
Of the defaulted amount, to go back to your question of the impact on the town. It does impact our cash flow, however.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm more concerned about that.
Right.
And I think it's well understood that you can't separate this line from the other tax lines. All the lines have to be paid at once. And it doesn't matter if the property owner is paying $1 less, and they may say, well, it's the PACE, it's the energy improvement financing that we're not paying, or it's the town ad valorem tax we're not paying, whatever it is. If they're missing $1, the entire tax bill is rejected, and they have to pay the whole thing. So, and that's the fees start to accrue.
Is that codified in the law someplace? Because I
Yeah.
think we have a different experience, I think, with sidewalk assessments.
Well, the Article 5L, which is the general municipal law that passed in 2009, specifically states it's collected in the same form and same manner as regular taxes. So it's defined as such in the law. So it's
I think that's
You're
one of the
covered.
things that we'd like to be able to have for the tax receipts.
it's absolutely covered, and every legal opinion that we've had confirms that.
Okay, any additional comments or questions from the board? Tom? Okay. That being said, when we go to our communication and resolutions, we'll take this up once again. Mark, I want to thank you for presenting to us this evening, and I appreciate it. And I know that Councilman Ioris is looking for some information. If you could provide a list with Greg of the programs that are in place,
Sure.
and so we can get a better handle on how municipalities are functioning with this program.
Just to clarify a little bit, each state is a little different in how they operate.
Sure.
So you may get slightly different
Yeah.
angles. You just have to kind of dig in a little bit. But we're happy to give you the names and.
Can you also show the savings that the buildings are getting from what they were paying and then when you did the job?
Oh yeah, that's part of the underwriting criteria,
Okay.
that we would not be able to finance the project unless we saw a NYSERDA feasibility study that shows how much money is going to be saved. So it's definitely, they're going to see that.
Well, I think that's so. Let's just, you mentioned Toledo, right?
Yeah.
That will be part of it.
That's what I'm asking about.
I see.
Councilman Nardi wants to know what the savings are, by going through these programs. Now,
Well-
you're saying it could be a wash, right? It has to be below what has to be that 1%,
1% or higher.
around
Yep.
1% or higher. So, is that what you're looking for? Tom?
Yeah, that's what,
I mean, we have case studies of buildings that have gone through NYSERDA's programs in New York State that show savings, and I could send you those tomorrow. That's easy, because NYSERDA has these programs running for a decade, and it's just that no one's really taking them on because they don't have the capital to do them. But the ones that have happened, in fact, there's one right here in Rye Brook. They did it was an office building. I think they're saving $80,000 a year, and that's a upgrade that would have qualified for this financing if we existed back then. So I can send you those case studies.
Okay.
Okay.
And one other question, sorry. Typically, how long are the loans for a typical project?
It's it really right now our list of 60-ish projects is typically average duration of 12, 13 years. And it really depends on how high your electricity bills are. The solar projects that are in Con Ed territory or in Orange and Rockland, the highest electricity rates in the country almost, they're getting 5-year, 7-year financings because they pay off within that quick a time. But if you're in NYSEG up by northern Westchester, much lower electricity rates, they're going to be a 15-year term. And then on the efficiency side, it really depends on how deep the client wants to go. If they just want to do lighting, that's a 2-year financing, which doesn't really make a lot of sense, but some people are doing that. Typically, the efficiency projects are longer. Those are the ones that are out 16, 17 years, typically.
Yeah, that's what I figured. And is a loan fixed for that period of time? Is it variable?
Yep, it's fixed rate.
Fixed rate?
Cannot. No prepayment because it's a tax bill, and there's
No adjustments at any?
No adjustments. It's fixed forever.
Okay.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
Great.
Okay. And next we'll go on to the approval of minutes from July 15th. Do you have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Very good. Second, Tom?
I'll second it. Yeah.
Very good. Please call roll.
Collins. Nardi.
Aye.
Ioris.
Aye.
Villanova.
Yes. Okay, and comments from the public? Anybody here from the public like to make any comment? No? Sure? Okay. All right. And next we'll go into the resolutions. And the first resolution that we have is just to set the date for a public hearing, which will be for our next meeting. And Hope, which date is that?
September 16th.
Okay, September 16th. And that would be a public hearing. Does everybody feel comfortable with 8 o'clock, or do we need to do it earlier?
I think we should do it earlier, personally. I mean, I think we should
You know
do it
what happens
earlier.
with these public hearings, we schedule them for 7:30, we open the public hearing, there's 2 people that want to speak, and then we're sitting around for 25 minutes to get going with the meeting. So from an efficiency standpoint, I would suggest we have the public hearing at 8 o'clock. Is that okay?
Okay, boss.
Well, no,
So it really wasn't a question there, was it, guys?
no, it is a question. I'm open for anything.
No, I default
tend
to
to
you in your
agree. Our
experience.
experience has been public hearings are lightly attended.
Correct. All right, so that being said, I guess the chair will entertain a motion to set a public hearing for September 16th at 8 p.m. to discuss the possibility of establishing an Energize New York benefit financing program, which could be a local law number 2 for 2014.
Okay. So moved.
All right, do you have a second?
I'll second it.
Very good. And Hope, please call the roll.
Collins?
Yep.
Yes. Nardi?
Yes.
Nyors?
Yes.
Villanova?
Yes, very good.
Just as a item of housekeeping,
Yes, sir.
because this is a potential local law, are there special publications that we have to
Yeah,
make?
I'll have to get them in.
Okay.
Very good.
Hope will do her thing.
And Resolution B is RFP resolution, and I'll introduce this, and then I'll let Councilman Nardi.
Well, excuse me for
Yes.
a second. Do you just want to, we're going to table this? This is the second part of Resolution 1A.
There's
two parts.
Two parts to A.
That's the
Municipal
Yeah,
agreement,
the agreement.
which
the
I
IMA
think we're prepared
that,
to.
Well, do we need to all right, so
I don't think we're prepared
no,
to.
we're just setting the public hearing. You're right.
Yes, I just
Yeah,
wanted to acknowledge it, okay?
Very good,
Since
thank you.
It's on the agenda.
So that we're just focusing on setting the date for the public hearing. Okay, thank you. And so Resolution B is a request for a proposal. I just want to make sure that everyone on the board received communication was sent out. And quite simply, something we've talked about for a little while, and Councilman Nardi and myself spent some time with the pavilion bathrooms, and we came up with a very basic scope of work. And what we're looking for is the support of the board, that we can go forward and have Mr. Nowotnik and Mr. Noto prepare an RFP, so we can start a process to have these bathrooms rehabilitated. Mr. Nardi?
Yeah, the bathrooms, they're showing their age. The petition stalls are getting all rotten out on the bottom, the metal's just deteriorating, and it's time for them to be redone. I've gotten a lot of complaints about them. They are trying to clean them the best they can. It's getting a lot of use, and over the years, and it's time. It's time to do a couple of minor changes on them by making the handicap stalls a little bit bigger. There's a wooden cabinet in there that's got to come out. There's two of them actually, one in the men's, one's in the women's, and it needs to be done.
The other thing that will be part of this is, after the bathrooms are complete, we're going to propose, and as a matter of, well, we're going to propose obviously a very strict cleaning schedule. And but one thing that we want to have right now, enforce right now, is right now I think more as a courtesy to the public that, you know, these bathrooms are left open a little too late, a little too long, and you know, just from speaking to staff, some of the damage or misuse that happens in the later hours of the day.
Okay.
And so that's something that I think we need to address. We don't need to create specific policy now, but I guess just so Mr. Nowotnik is aware, I know that there's camp. The high school band will be using the fields, and unless, and I'm just speaking for Councilman Nardi, and if I'm wrong, Tom, stop me. But unless there is a scheduled event at Crawford Park where someone is paying a fee and has a contract to use the fields or the pavilion, okay, those bathrooms must be closed.
I agree totally. I think one of the things you should be aware of is we do have two groups that practice there. We have the soccer groups practice up until about 6:30, 7:30.
Are they on a schedule?
Yes.
And do they pay a fee?
No.
is it an ad hoc practice?
No.
Okay, but they're
No,
on
it's part of the Portchester.
it's formal.
Right, it's
As
formal.
long as it's formal,
Yeah.
Right.
and it is not a pickup group of people
No, no,
doing
no, no.
something.
This has been going on for years.
Right. This is
Yeah, it's Rybrook
What's his
Soccer,
name?
Rybrook Youth Soccer, and Cesar Aliaga.
Caesar, right?
You're thinking
Okay, yeah.
of.
If it's Caesar's group, that's one thing.
Right.
But if it's not on a formal schedule and you don't know about
Right.
it, the bathrooms have to be
Right.
closed.
All right, I just wanted to let you know, because they run typically around 8 up
Yeah,
until
I
about
agree
8 o'clock.
100%. I agree, as long as
was
it's
there too.
sanctions, as long as you know about it and, you know, then it's fine. But if there's nothing scheduled, those bathrooms need to be locked.
Yeah, we can have George be a little tighter on the close-up schedule.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a problem.
Because we're almost a little. I don't want to say that we're not so focused on it now, but if we make this investment and we have these brand new bathrooms, and then something happens,
Yep.
It'll be frustrating.
You're going to be looking at two very angry men.
Yeah.
One of them has long hair. Alrighty. And that being said, are there any questions from the board?
No, I look forward to the RFPs.
Okay, Bobby.
No, I mean, this seems to be, comprehensive list, and how was it prepared?
But Tom and I prepared it.
Yeah, great.
We went down, we looked at everything, picked out all the problems that need to be done or changed. We have the men's room urinal, we have to move it over, we have to take out a cabinet, move the urinal over, and then move a petition over for the handicap stall, because it is a little tiny. It's at that time, it was okay, but now we have a sink, we have the handicap sink. When you first walk in, if somebody's using that sink, you can't get by. So the sink should be all the way, the handicap sink should be all the way to the left, and have the regular sinks over to the right. So this way, when you come into the bathroom, if somebody's using the sink, you can get by. If you have somebody in a wheelchair, you're not getting by.
Yeah. Quite simply, what we had identified was a way that we can reuse
Yes.
certain materials that are there, and for lack of a better term, maximizing the fixtures that are there just by moving partitions will give us that ability to have the handicap stalls. And so I think it was well thought out. We took a fair amount of time. So.
Yeah, the handicap sinks, there's nothing wrong with them. They'll need new faucets. It's just, like we said, we have on here for a good, better, and best pricing.
Right.
So maybe, if it's within budget, we might be able to use something that infrared faucets. It'll save you water,
Cleaning and stuff.
Yeah, it's.
You got a loan for that, Mark?
Oh,
Yeah, you don't have to put on any hands. You can put your hand under the sink and the water comes on.
Yeah.
The infrared trips it, and this way you'll save a lot on the water.
So anyway, that's where we are.
Okay.
And more vandal resistant too. So
That was going to be my question.
yeah, be more vandal resistant.
Okay.
Alrighty, and so that being said, do we have a motion to accept this resolution?
And I
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Joyfully.
second.
Bishop on the question?
Yeah, before you vote on the question, I just want to call your attention to the timeline. I think the timeline is a touch aggressive.
You can't get
and-
the RFP by Monday?
And I'm going to suggest that the dates flow this way, that we look at 8/29, that Friday, getting it out.
Okay.
We're looking at scheduling the on-site bidders meeting for September 15th. We have to allow a couple of weeks for these things to get published, because most of our newspapers are weekly or bi-weekly.
Okay.
And schedule the sealed bids to come back on October 3rd.
Very good.
All right, so on that kind of a schedule, I think it's realistic, and I think we'll get the maximum amount of potential bidders.
Yes.
Because when you rush it, what happens is a lot of guys miss it, and then it's too late.
Especially this time of year. It's hard to lock people down.
Great. Okay, we have a motion and a second, and Hope, please call the roll.
Collins?
Yes.
Nardi?
Yes.
Naoris?
Yes.
Stoneman?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and now we're going to go to correspondence C. Mr. Nowotny?
Okay. We received a letter from Mrs. Rosemarie Barone She's a local Portchester resident. She has a baby grand piano that she is looking to donate. And she was a classical pianist in her day. She's a little older now. She's got arthritis. She can't play very much. But she just bought a brand new piano. And she doesn't have room for 2 pianos in her living room. So she knows that we have musical programs up at Crawford Park. We have the Village Singers there. We have the Council of the Arts theater groups there. And she felt that that would be a nice home for the piano. It is gorgeous. I'm sorry I don't have a picture to post. I wish I did. But I will pass around the photo because it is a gorgeous, gorgeous piano. And you can see that that's what she's looking to donate.
Oh, wow.
And all we need to do is we need to provide the moving, which we're estimating is about $300. And we will then get an appropriate cover for the piano, as well as what you call a trundle frame for the bottom. Yeah, that's good. That'll work.
Wow, very nice.
Too small?
Yeah.
Looks like a piano. 3 legs, 88 keys.
But anyway, it's a gorgeous piece, and
8 octaves.
as you can see, it looks like it's in perfect condition.
It does.
Thank you, Rob.
Well, this really is a great
fantastic.
great opportunity. So I guess the chair will entertain a motion to accept this donation and instruct the Mr. Nowotnik to prepare a letter, official correspondence from the supervisor's office that we will accept this donation. And I think that it would be nice to, when we have it set there, and maybe invite Mrs. Barone to come, and I think it'll also be appropriate, considering the sizable donation and the value of that donation. We can have maybe a small plaque made in honor of her and her donation to the town of Rye. And this is absolutely beautiful. So
Really nice, very exciting. And we just painted the mansion, and it just adds to
Yeah,
the
it's going to look
character
it's going to look great.
It really does.
it does.
It's going to be great.
That's beautiful. And Mr. Nowotnik, so what I'd like to do is really have a great plan in place. So I know you mentioned about the possibility of getting that carriage,
Right.
The commercial carriage for the bottom of the piano. If we can maybe have the cover and the commercial carriage in place by the time we get the delivery, just so
It's one-time moving. so,
yeah,
yeah.
right, just so we don't lose any time there. Okay, so that being said, the chair will entertain a motion to instruct the confidential secretary to the supervisor to draft a letter, and that we will let her know that we will accept the donation. Do you have a motion?
I'll move first.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Please call the roll.
Collins?
Yes.
Nardi?
Yes.
Nyors?
Aye.
Villanova?
Very good. Thank you. And we'll go on to the assessor. Any comment? Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay. All righty, very good. Finance is not here. Tax receiver, Mr. Mecca.
Oh no, I hate when he has the blue letter. I know that
Yeah?
the tax bill is coming.
Yes. Comes the taxman.
I know. But every few months I like to go into denial.
Honorable Deputy Supervisor Villanova, members of the Town Board, Nicholas Mecca, receiver of taxes. I just want to alert everyone who is responsible for your taxes, by the time we have our next meeting, you will receive your new school bill. Half the bill will be due by September 30th. You should have it the first week of September, because this year Labor Day falls right on the 1st. There'll be no mail, so maybe the 2nd or 3rd you'll get your bill. If you don't have your bill with a week or so, please call the office. And I would like to remind you again, at the back of the bill, there is a lot of information that you really should take a look at. You have the levy there, you have the total assessed value broken down by homestead, non-homestead, you have the state aid, you have the percentages of homestead, non-homestead. So there's a lot of information on the bills. If you just take a few minutes and study them and read them. Also here, you will have an envelope in there to mail to Jersey, which is the lockbox, where the money will go. The deposit goes right into TD Bank main account, and then we just get a file to post it. So, any questions?
None.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mecca. Town Clerk Vespia.
I submitted my report.
And we have that, thank you. Town Attorney is not here, no report. Superintendent of Highways, Mr. Decresenzo.
Good evening, how is everybody?
Great.
Did you have any questions on the report you received?
What can you tell us about the Jefferson Avenue Bridge?
Well, you know, it's this close. This close. They are supposed to be lining the bridge, putting the traffic lines on it now. There is a temporary fix in place for the guardrails, and I spoke with the village manager, and we're in the process of setting up some type of grand reopening for next week. I'll let everyone know well in advance, and the bridge should be operational by next week.
Very good. Please make sure that's communicated well to the town.
Yes, as soon as I know, you'll be the first people to know.
Okay.
I'll send an email directly.
Very good.
Dance on it.
Yeah.
Why not? In addition to that, where are we with the other bridge?
Otter Creek, I met yesterday afternoon with Tom Ottoman and one of the contractors that he was able to contact, the painting contractor, the maintenance contractor that he knows, and he has all the information. He's supposed to get back to us within a few days. We spoke with Terry with Holt Construction, and he said that he's a general contractor. He doesn't do the work, but he referred two of his painting contractors, maintenance contractors, to us. One of them was flat out not interested.
Right.
The other one is, we're in the process of trying to set up a meeting, an on-site meeting. He was supposed to come. We couldn't get him to come yesterday, but there's still Carl from Tom Ottoman's office is trying to get him down there this week.
Okay.
And hopefully by the end of next week, we should have some type of proposals in hand. At least that's what we're asking the contractors to give us, proposals on the two portions. One, the preservation of it, and the cleaning up and taking care of it, and then the painting part of it, so that we have it in two parts, and then we're able to get it done properly. It's only a 26-foot bridge. Hopefully, somebody will want to do this.
Yeah.
Well,
Agreed.
Before I have to get overalls and a drop cloth.
Exactly. Okay, Mr. Decresenzo, thank you.
Okay.
And comments from the board.
no comment.
When the RFP comes out, I would like to see contractors from Rye Town put bids out. I mean, there's not that much work out there, so, take the bid, take the opportunity and bid on the job. That's all for me. Oh, and thank you for Ms. Barone for the piano.
Good.
I would like to thank Ms. Barone for the piano as well. Other than that, no comment.
And I have no comment, and that's it. So, Hope, call the roll, and the meeting.
The meeting is adjourned.
Very good. That's what you'd like to do, then that's what we'll do.
I agree. The meeting is adjourned. Aye.
Alrighty, 9 hours.
Aye.
All over.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.